Alright, what's going on, y'all? We're back. Apologies it took so long again. Yeah, life just tends to happen that way. I don't know what it is, but for me, I know that at the very least I need to adjust a lot better to it than what I have. Um, I've said before, I'm not real big on making excuses about it, and I'm still not going to do that now. I will say, though, I would be remiss if I didn't, of course, mention this, especially given it being amongst all the things that I've mentioned before, from, just not getting consistent sleep, or like consistent kind of quality sleep that I need to be able to function accordingly. As I mentioned before, that was a huge reason why for however many months it was, I just I just wasn't on it like that the same way. And it kind of happened the same way the more that I think about it when I first started this, because that was literally right before the pandemic. Of course, the first video ever was me in the car, waiting for the people at my storage unit at the time to open up because they were out for lunch and everything. And of course, that was that fateful day. I don't want to talk about that, but if you know, you know. Go back, check it out. Again, very first video ever. That's all that needs to be said about that. But yeah, after that though is where it was a little bit bizarre because it was what, not even a month, couple months later, I think we just got hit with the pandemic, and I wound up going on a hiatus then because it was like everything was dead. But fast forward a few years, it was sort of the same thing, given what had happened, and between that, um, between the fact that, like I said, I was dealing with things because of how I grew up with ADD, and along with it came the RED, rejection sensitive disorder, or dysphoria. Either of those work. But at the same time, it was just having learned from all of that, but also, again, having to deal with other things that just came up. Not a big deal. You just deal with it, which I have. Not going to go into details. I apologize for my vagueness on that. But like I said, if you know, you know. And that's as far as those that have actually talked to me in recent weeks, really, recent days. That's really all there is to that. What I really want to focus on here was what I said I was going to focus on, and that was just everything about how I was at the time that my grandmother passed. Of course, I really handled things a lot differently, just given the fact that, I feel like going back to when my father passed away, I found a way to be a little bit more upbeat, to be a little bit more positive, I guess, and it was just a little easier at that point. This was a little bit different somehow, and given that it was the second grandmother within as many years as I said before, it was something that I just really needed time to adjust to because there was no way I was going to be ready for it in that moment. Especially going into the repass where quite a few friends and family were there, but even though I was there physically, that was really about it. I was there enough to engage with, well, maybe not everybody there, but everybody that I was actually able to talk to at the time. And at the very least, I hope that for those who, I'm not really sure what your take may have been at that time as far as how I was at that point in time. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that for anyone that was at the repast, that felt I was in any way dismissive or even in any way sort of, I'm not even sure how I want to say it, but if anything, I guess I'm trying to apologize for that because it's I mean, thinking back on it is tough, obviously, and it wasn't just me that was hurting, of course, and I certainly didn't want to treat it like that. I think that's one way I wanted to look at it. But what I need to clarify for those who may or may not understand, that was also stemming from stuff that was going on previous to that. And that's kind of what I articulated in part one, because, everything that I had been through coming back into Denver, going back, what was it, last July, everything up until that point, there was an awful lot of buildup that I have this way of shoving things to the side. There are a lot of people that even have told me this. I keep things buried, so to speak, which isn't at all very healthy. In fact, I'd like to think on some level I'm probably paying for that to some degree. I'm not really sure how so, although the more I think about it now, it's actually getting to be a little more obvious how that works. But all that being said, just given all the stuff that I had been through, that dark period, I'm thinking somewhere 2015 to about, I don't know, sometime maybe 2018, I think it was. Yeah, 2018. So about 3 years we're talking about where I just couldn't be any further from myself and what I actually was. And even as I got back to that, it got to a point to where, there were somehow, some way, I just found myself getting drugged back to where I was before, even though those who didn't realize they were in part responsible for that, even though they didn't realize it, albeit I'm not sure how much they care. But all the same, just all those that were responsible for it. I mean, if they'd have realized that and knew it for what it was, they probably would have approached it a little differently. Or maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. Either way, again, I apologize for my vagueness on that. I don't want to go into too many details because, unfortunately, at that point, I can't really say that I wouldn't be I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't want to make anything more of it because really, for me, a lot of this is in the past now. And this is about me wanting to move forward from here. That's the whole point of this. I went a long way to get to saying all this, of course. Please excuse me on that. But, all of that aside, it's just about moving forward at this point. I just want to be able to keep doing what I'm doing now, continuing to make videos. I mean, hell, I got a lot I want to talk about. We had a preseason game with the Broncos out in Santa Clara where they lost at the last second for the second week in a row, which, again, I got a lot to say about that when I get to that. Definitely expect that by the end of the afternoon for sure. But I want to focus on things like that. I want to focus on what I've been doing. Like, I've actually gotten to where I live streamed. I live streamed the launch of early access for Madden 24 on Monday night, this past Monday night. And speaking of the game last night, I was planning to do a live reaction. That was intended to be Friday. I was mistaken on that, and I should have been paying attention at the time. But that was where I was going to live stream for Friday night and didn't realize it was going to be tomorrow. And the only reason I didn't do that was largely to just get in the last bit of rest and relaxation before I actually started jumping back on this. I'm sorry if that got jumbled up in any way, but yeah, I mean, that's really all that boils down to, is that I want to be focused on those things. And again, for those that felt like I was dismissive of them, or I tried to act like I was the only one that was hurting, or whatever the case may have been, hopefully that wasn't the impression that you got, and if it was, I apologize. But I'll say it again and again, I'm just looking to move forward. I'm looking to put more of these up. I'm looking to do some more live streams. Hell, I'm looking to even do gameplay videos when I'm good to do that. I mean, I'll be streaming it more and more as time goes on. Shout out to my boys, Mr. Pick Six and D Mamba. But all in all it boils down to is moving forward. And that's just, I don't know how many times I've said that within the last 30 seconds, but moving forward, moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. That's it. And that's all it is. That's all it's going to be. Shout out to the NXT champion Carmelo Hayes. And of course I want to talk about some wrestling too, obviously. But yeah, I just hope this is a good way for me to get that ball rolling again. You know what it is. Let me know what you guys think. And like, share, subscribe, all that good groovy. And I'll just post these a little bit differently when I share it and all that here. But all I can say is just the old tagline from before. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me. I won't be using that so much, but, you know, that just is what it is. Thank all of you just for watching this right now. And look forward to seeing you again soon. Later.